Hi, everyone, and I want to welcome you. I'm Kisha Zullo, founder of the Women in Business Summit. I'm so excited to be having this conversation today. As you know, the 15th annual Women in Business Summit, this year we're creating a virtual experience, and it is my absolute pleasure to speak with Patrina Dixon, who is founder of It's My Money. Welcome, Patrina.
Welcome. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. So I just want to tell you a little bit about her before we jump into the conversation. So this is Patrina Dixon. She's founder of It's My Money. She's a certified financial education instructor. She's a 2018 Women of Color Honoree. Congratulations on that. She's an advocate for financial literacy. She's an author. And as I mentioned, she's a featured speaker at the 15th annual Women in Business Summit, our virtual experience at the end of this month. So, and this is her second time because she's been a WIB Summit presenter in the past. I'm so excited to talk to you about money. We're going to call this Money Monday.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
So what led you to start your business?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with the quote. And the quote is, when you make an observation, you have an obligation. And a good friend of mine, Mr. Brandon Frame, said that once, and it stuck with me. And the observation was, still at the point I started my business now, several years ago, young people were not being taught how to manage money. Personal finance was not being taught in schools. And I observed that. And I said, I have an obligation because I know a lot about money. I was a student of money and I wanted to share that with everybody. So that's why I got started. I wanted to ensure people that weren't learning how to manage their money well had a vehicle and a tool by way of my book, learning how to manage their money. So that's how I got started. And then the business evolved from there.
That is awesome. So I'm going to kind of mix the questions up a little bit because you said something that is leading me to this part of the conversation. You saw how that kids weren't being taught how to manage money. So what advice do you have for parents who may be watching this, especially because they're spending a lot more time at home, the kids are home, it's summertime. How do you start that conversation about money, and what are some habits that you would recommend to parents to start doing now?
Sure. So the question I'm going to kind of add a little bit to that question, and that is, what age should they start learning about money?
Yeah.
And my response is always when they can recite the words to your favorite song, not their favorite song, your favorite song, meaning the parent.
Yeah.
And the reason why children are able to do that, because they hear often. So the more they hear it, the more they're able to, memorize the words and then recite them.
Oh.
So what I would say is start dropping financial tips, if not more than you play your favorite song, as often as you play your favorite song. Oh. And that's when they start to learn, when they're able to do that. And that age differs for different children. So I'm not going to say age 3, age 5, or whatever. It's whenever they can start to retain information and regurgitate it. That's when you should start teaching them finance tips. The earlier, the better. So you as a parent, the stuff that you put in front of them, in the frequency for which you do it, translates to the frequency of them remembering and being able to recite. So the more you can do that by way of sharing tips, talking about positive money things in front of them, and having games like financial games. I have a free financial coloring book on my website. Infuse finances into the various different regular everyday tasks or activities. And I think that would contribute to them learning as early as possible.
That's incredible, because a friend of mine, this didn't happen, when I was growing up, and, I'd love that you are suggesting have the conversation early, but she said that she actually has her children, they're teenagers now, pay bills. And I thought that was really interesting. She shows them how much money is coming into the house. And then she has them go through the process of, okay, this money goes to this bill, not physically, but, carving out the money so that they can see, I start with this much, and these are the things that I have to take care of. So I love that advice. But I want to talk about your personal business, how it's been affected in COVID. Like, how has this whole situation affected you personally and professional, and not just COVID, just the whole environment over the last few months?
Yeah, so I think it's just, fitting to say, how have I been affected personally and professionally with my business through this pandemic. And I would say personally, I gained a lot of weight. I've eaten a lot. I haven't done as much exercise. I started off, trying to get outside and walk and all that good stuff and couldn't continue it. I always found a reason why I had to wake up to do something, jump on a live, whatever I had to do. But that aside, the positive was spent a lot, more time with my family.
Yeah.
Both my husband and I work a lot. My daughter no longer lives in the house. And when this all happened, my daughter came home for, the time that the COVID was going, was really rampant and people didn't know, we still don't know a lot. And so she was here, we ate meals together, my mom as well. So the four of us here, we ate meals together, we played games and just did things that, we had lost an appreciation for because we were just working and trying to, felt going outside of the house, accomplishing things were more important, I guess. And I think it allowed us to step back and say, spending the quality time with your family is more important. And the other things are just gravy of, as a result of that. So that was personal. So weight and more family time.
Yeah.
And then from a business perspective, it was really an aha moment for me because some of the things that I had thought about doing some time ago, I just didn't have the time to do or didn't make time to do that.
Right.
And that was being able to come like we are right now and doing virtual. I'm like, I go into places. I'm better when I'm in front of a crowd. Live wasn't a thing that at the time I didn't enjoy, nor did I think I can do it well. I was like, I need the energy from the people. I feed off the energy. But then when COVID happened, I needed to still continue my business. So I said, I need to go live. I need to learn the, Zoom and the aspects, the virtual of platforms to be able to bring this and still bring the information to my audience. And I enjoy it. I love it.
And you're really great at it. So you're not part of her group, It's My Money Squad. You really need to be, connect. She'll share how to connect with her group because it's really great. And I'm loving all the tracking that everybody's doing and saving money. So all of this came out of COVID. So I'm really excited for you. That's awesome.
Thank you. So it allowed me to pivot and say, okay, will I one day go back in front of, a client, have me come in to talk to a group of folks? Absolutely. But during this time, I was able to scale in a couple different ways. So now I can go virtual, which means instead of traveling, getting to an event and traveling back, I can do 3 in a day. I also was able to bring on additional staff to support the various different functions or facets of the business. So it has actually done me really well by, there was some issues, financial things that I needed to work through. But once I got that in check, and then I was able to say, okay, well, how do I plug in the areas to be able to have more than one going at one time? And that's when I brought in another financial educator, or facilitator. So it has actually done right by me, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, no, and I think everybody working at the same pace and everybody's calmed down and, having to shift allowed us to really zone in, like you said, on family and then on your business and deciding how do I pivot, and then seeing that pivot opened up extra avenues of income, which
That's
is
exactly
incredible.
right. Exactly.
That's awesome. So if someone was looking to start a business right now, in the middle of a pandemic, they have an idea and they're going to go for it, what would you say are some best practices and recommendations that you would give them?
So I would say first, do your research, right? So it's one thing to have an idea, but then, many times people want to start a business on what they think people will purchase or buy, or the service they just think is a good service. So do people need the service? Do they, is it a product that will solve a problem for somebody else? So I think you need to do a little bit of research to make sure that it's something that can scale. And then once you have determined that is something that can happen, do it. Like, just do it. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 9 or 90. If you have the energy to do it and the motivation, do it. And I, that's part of my story is when I wanted to start the business that I'm in now, people told me that I was too old. Like, people wouldn't connect with you because I wanted to work with young people. They're not going to connect with you. You don't, know the hip things. At the time, I wasn't really big on social media. So I'm like, it stopped me for a little while. I put a pause on start, and I did start. So once I did, I'm like, I'm going to make sure everybody don't listen to the naysayers. If you feel like you have the stamina to do it and to take on the ebb and flows, right? Because it doesn't always go the way you plan.
Exactly.
I say, absolutely do it. And then the other important thing I want to say is make sure you're ready to go in business. And I mean that obviously as a finance coach, financially. So prepare yourself and have enough money, because you may not make money with the first product or the first service that you put out there. And that may not happen for, I don't know, several months. So make sure that you put enough money into starting the business, into marketing the business. Is one thing to have a great product and service, but if nobody knows about it, then nobody knows about it, right? So in order for them to purchase or want your service, you have to put the information out there. And sometimes that means paying for the message to get out there. So that's what I would encourage people to do. And open a business account. That's my other tip. Open a business account. Open a business account and open a business account.
Right, and let everything flow through it, and treat your business like a business, not like a hobby, and it will pay you like a business. I love that you said that, ignore the dream. I call them dream snatchers. Just put that aside. I've read so many stories of entrepreneurs who came up against obstacles of people saying, no, you can't. And for me, it's always fuel for, well, let me figure that out. Right? Let me do it. See how it works. So what are some of the barriers that you or your clients have experienced in funding a business? Because that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about at WIB Summit is finding the money. And we know from statistics that women generally, even if they go out for capital, we're going to get less. Women of color, significantly less than that. So what are your experiences with people finding funding for their business?
Yeah. So first, I would say the tip that I just gave before, open a business account. So if you think about the times right now and the payment protection program that's out there right now, where small businesses, there's funds for small businesses to I guess to stay afloat, to reopen, whatever, keep their employees, all the various different things that funds that were available for small businesses to stay open during the pandemic that we're going through. The important thing, if you didn't have a business bank account and have filed taxes for your business, and you can only do that if you have it structured properly, then you couldn't even access the capital that's available. So my tip there is set yourself up. So the structure, right? Don't just put the roof on the house. You have to have the right foundation. So no matter how well you're doing in business, if you're trying to get capital, you have to have the appropriate documentation to give or provide or share to whoever's trying to give you capital. Give it, loan it, however they're trying to provide it to you. You need to be able to provide the documents needed to do that. You need to be able to provide your employer identification number, like all of the things that businesses would have to say that they actually are a business and don't just have a hobby. So I said that's number one. So if you want capital, most times people that will give you capital, even from a grant perspective, want to understand your setup financially. They want to understand what's going to happen with their money, right? Like, what are you going to do when you get it? Are you going to then go shopping? No, do you have a plan for this money that they may, give to you? The other thing I said is apply and apply and apply and apply and apply. So you can't get a yes or no if you don't apply. So I encourage you to apply, make sure you're eligible. Make sure you answer all the questions that they ask you, because missing a question could cause you to miss money. So make sure you're set up, make sure you answer all the questions, and apply and apply and apply. And then I liken this to students that apply for scholarships when they go off to college. They say, well, it's too long. It takes too long. They're asking too many questions. And I say this to business owners. If you think a half hour of you filling out an application is too long and you're too busy to do that, then you just don't even want the free money that's available to you. So I encourage you to apply.
Say that again, free money.
Free money. It's free there. And right now during this time, because you talked about women Black-owned business, Black-owned women businesses, usually capital is hard to come by. At this time right now, all the small Black women business owners need to apply for everything that's available, that you're eligible for.
Right.
So make sure that you have your paperwork right and that you go and apply for everything and be told to no, right? Don't just think, well, I'm not going to get that one because it's too much. And don't say that one is only 500, so I don't want that one.
Oh my goodness.
All the 500s that will come your way, especially those that are grants and you don't have to pay it back.
Right. A closed mouth doesn't get fed.
Oh, yes. Speak it, honey. Amen.
And if you're in business, a no doesn't hurt. You know, you will hear no a million times and you just keep going. I love that advice. So thank you for that. So what do you recommend? We talked about parents and we went through that question, but in the future, what are some annual checkups that you would recommend that people do annually with their finances? And I mentioned at the top of our conversation that your group has, every month you set up a goal for them and the members can, you know, set themselves up for success by tracking how much they save each week. I absolutely love that tool. But if you're looking at your finances over the year, what are some of the things that you need to do as a financial checkup?
Yes. So absolutely. And you're saying from a business perspective?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would say, look at your profit and loss statement. Look at how much money you made and how much money you lost, or your expenses. Look at where that was, you know, and what money did you get in and how can you increase that stream, and the money that you paid out, how can you decrease that? So I'll just give a couple examples for me. So I sell t-shirts and sweatshirts.
And you wear my favorite color. And I'm wearing yours, I think.
So I used to have t-shirts in the wintertime, and I would have boxes of them, and I would have the same boxes as I went into spring, because t-shirts didn't sell in the winter month. So when I looked at my finances, I'm like, okay, I spent this much on my cost of goods, which are the t-shirts, but the income from t-shirts did not rise to the level that I expected to. When I looked at when my t-shirt sales were high, they were in the spring and summer months. So that told me, even if I bought them in the winter, because they may, the price point to buy them may be less, don't expect the increase in those months, because that's not where it's happening. So even my marketing dollars for the t-shirts did not really bump up until it was time where they were buying the t-shirts. So now I want to put a little bit of dollars into that, because the marketing at that point, as opposed to the months leading up to that, because it wasn't returning anything. So that's how you have to look at it. Look at what happened, what you need to change. Right. And then the important thing, make the change. Don't just know, you actually have to execute on the change. So look at what you spent, look at what's driving your sales, look at how you could create an additional stream from things that you are doing. So if you write a book, can you then speak on the topic of your book? Can you create a worksheet aligned to your book topic? So that's how you can create additional streams once you have mastered one of the streams tied to your initial business.
Oh my goodness, I love it so much. And I love that, especially at this time, we're about 6 months into the year, right? And we're going to we're into the next 6 months of the year. And it's a perfect time to take a pause and look at your business, look at your strategy, and make adjustments as needed. That's something I had to learn. I'm still growing as an entrepreneur, still learning every single day. A couple of your key takeaways for me is make sure your foundation is solid. And even at this point, if you've been in your business a while and you're like, okay, I'm just working, because I totally get that, working on your business, to maybe pull back and work in your business, you're working in your business, but maybe it's time to pull back and work on your business. And that's really great advice. Yeah. So as we bring this conversation to a close, I definitely want to make people know, let everybody know how they can connect with you on social media or otherwise.
Absolutely. So the first place is join my Facebook group. So we have a financial group where I provide financial tips. I bring experts in to talk about various different topics. It's free to join the group. It's called IT Squad, and that's IT $$ My Money Squad. So I would love for you to join the group. Secondly, my website is itsmymoneyjournal.info. from my website. You can connect to me everywhere, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want to find me, wherever you are, you want to connect with me, you can find everything from there. So that's itsmymoneyjournal.info. So yeah, so, but I would love for you to be in my group. In my group,
Yes.
I share everything as well. So come check me out there.
And it's super fun and active and engaged, and you know, everyone in there is engaged. So I recommend that you guys join us, because I'm a part of the Money Squad too. So thank you so much. I'm excited for the conversation that's going to continue at the end of the month at the 15th Annual Women in Business Summit. Patrina is featured on the money panel. So it's going to be a lot of different conversations around money, around women and money. So I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for this time, PK. I really love talking to you. Your energy just comes off all the way through technology, on stage or through this medium. You are always such like a ray of sunshine, and I love talking to you.
Kisha, thank you so much, and thank you for going live and bringing me forth to the Women in Business. I'm sure a ton of attendees, and again, having me a part of the summit. It was my first year. Last year was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to being a part of it again this year, and meeting virtually all the women that will be a part.
Awesome. Enjoy your day. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.